everyone. I was doing a quick alignment and meditation so that I can open up myself to receive what needs to be received today. I have many titles that came down. I sat with my cup of coffee and I was sitting and I was like, oh, there's so many things I need to talk about and share and experience with others and help. And yeah, I have a whole bunch of titles, but today I hope you're all doing well, and that this Sunday for you is blissful and exciting and rejuvenating, and you've taken time off for yourself. Now, I use my Saturdays as time off from the world, unless I am completely triggered into like lots of information, like I'm supposed to finish something, like start writing a book or finish the design of something or come up with posts or work on my online, like something happens where I just can't stop. In general, I have aligned myself with Saturdays being the days where I spend with my little angels, my girls, and I completely let go of the world and just be fully present to what's immediately in front of me now, and sort of like just lavish in that. However, in saying that, because I've been working a lot in the past week, when I did go into that stillness, and there wasn't like, I wasn't planning an outing with them, like let's go somewhere with them, because the day before I was at the beach with them, and I wasn't there were no plans to follow through, there was no structure, there was nothing there. It was a non-day. There was nothing planned. We just decided to just bum together at home and just spend quality time with no electronics. So we read and we played, and it was really very interesting, and I kept bringing myself to the present as I felt the emotion of, oh my God, you're gonna do nothing? Like, you're not even gonna go somewhere? You're not gonna, that's my extrovert version of me. You gotta do something, well, even if you're not gonna do anything, at least sit and meditate for 2 hours. This is an opportunity. Like, whether doing the thing is like healing, working through my shadow, talking to friends and getting information for them, setting up appointments with clients, where like there's always something to be done so that I can feel that I exist, or there's a worthiness in the day. And those things were showing up, and I refused to follow that nagging, like, you're doing nothing now, nothing. You're not even going out like to be with people and like see, and feel and have fun, and you're doing nothing. And it turns out the nothing that I was doing was actually the best thing that I ever did for myself, as I did a few months ago, I think in January, February, where I took 2 weeks off of all media, and I discovered so much about myself. I discovered my addictions. I discovered the panic and the worry. I saw all parts of me showing up in scary forms that I didn't know. I was so addicted to my career and what it meant to me and my worth. And I was so addicted to being like of service to everyone, that if I wasn't of service to someone, right, like getting downloads and information because it's so delightful, then I didn't know what to do. And within those 2 weeks, I discovered that I could be in service to me. However, that's not the topic of the day. And that is a completely other topic that I know I will need to talk about, because it's what we're all going through right now, right? Especially people pleasers, codependents, empaths, light workers. I put them all together because these are like the kind, compassionate people here on planet Earth we're all here to bring out love again, to bring out compassion. And then we get entangled with our fears and our doubts and our pains and what others expect of us, and we forget to have our own inner peace, because we're so busy trying to get others into their inner peace. But today I wanted to discuss something a little bit different. And hi. Oh, I saw the comments. Hi, Allah. Oh my God, it's It's been forever. Of course, I can't see you. You can only see me, but I can read you. Yay! If I scroll down enough, I see the comments. Oh, that took me a while. Anyway, what I actually wanted to discuss today, as I was sitting with my daughters, my beautiful, beautiful daughters, that have given me so much introspection about my life and have provided me with so much inner healing by observing them and always being open to receive their love from their end, to offer them also my unconditional love. We were sitting and we got little drawing pads and we were all sketching and drawing. And as they were drawing, one of them was drawing, they were both trying to sketch me. So one of them was sketching me, and then she's like, I sketch in cartoon form. And then the other daughter's like, I sketch more realistic. And I was observing this and I was thinking, how interesting. And I looked at both of them and they're like, let's compete. Let's compete to see who does the best. So there were two things that made me pay attention here. One of them was that each one wanted to give, they both great artists, but each one wanted to be great at a kind of art, simply because they want to stand out. Everybody wants. Sorry about this.
3 minutes now.
That's my Richard Rudd 3-minute contemplation and meditation that happens every 3 hours. So what I understood and saw so clearly, because it also reflected me in the world, is how they wanted to be unique in the same art. Like, they're both artists, but each one wanted to be unique. And I was like, what if both of you are great at drawing cartoons and realistic? What if that is a possibility? What if it doesn't mean anything? Like, I know you both draw in both phases. Why are you separating them? And they both looked at me and said, oh, okay. Like, as if they didn't understand that. And then when they decided to compete, I'm like, why are you going to compete with one another? Why is there a competition constantly there of who is better than the other, who can draw the best? And of course, it took me back to a time where I was known to be the artist in the family who loves to draw and paint and write poetry and dance and sing like that. And so one day, I remember very clearly, I drew something for my father, and I was so happy with myself. I think I was 14 or 15 in that hormonal stage, but still I was so like in my dream, and I sat in my room and I'm like, I'm going to draw something wonderful for my father, and I'm going to frame it with, like, I'll get a frame and I'll fix it and I'll give it to him as a gift, and he'll put it up in his office and he'll always remember me. And I spent so much time sketching this woman's face with a hat, and I thought I did a wonderful job. Actually, it was very, very pretty. And I wrapped it up, and then I gave it to my dad. And then I thought it was always with him. And then at some point, like a few weeks later, I don't really remember how long later, I went to his office, and I didn't find my drawing anywhere. But I saw a drawing that my sister did with charcoal, colored charcoal, of a boat in the sunset, and it was beautiful, but it was framed and it was put up. And I was like, Dad, where's my gift to you? And he was like, oh, I wanted to give it back so that you can fix it a little bit. It broke my heart. It just, I mean, I was the artist. Like, there was no one I was competing with, right? I was the artist of the family. It was a title that I had. And to only see that my sister's was up, and she didn't even do it as a gift, and he just bumped into it, and he took it and framed it and thought it was wonderful. It crushed me, because I couldn't understand how there could be two artists in the family. I couldn't understand what was wrong with mine, right? And the reason I'm sharing this is because as I observed that, I understood that there's always been competition in life. When we go to school, it's who's better than who, right? It's constantly, you're a grade A, you get C's, you get hundreds, you get 60s, right? There's always a competition. There's always a comparison between me and someone else, you and someone else. And so we are being taught from a very young age, the program is that you need to always compare yourself with others. You need to assess your worth, your value, what you do, what you joyously do with others, right? And what does this, where have we, look at where we've come today because of that competitive nature, to always look at somebody else and see, how do I measure with myself in comparison to someone else? First of all, it's a painful journey, because no matter how hard I tried to draw like my sister so my father can like it and post it up, it was impossible because I drew differently, right? My uniqueness was in a different form. Her uniqueness was in a different form, right? And it was okay for both of us to coexist and not to feel that there was a comparison between both. Same thing in the schooling system. I didn't have to compare myself with the smarter students, right? Or the quieter ones, or the ones who studied longer, or the ones who did it, right? So there's this whole entire world of competition. And as we leave the schooling system, it goes into the work, right? You get promoted if you work the hardest and you do the best and you spend more hours at work and you never leave, like, and you don't care about anything else but your career, right? So I worked in many companies prior to shifting to a spiritual transformational practitioner 15 years ago. But prior to that, I worked in so many companies, and I would always watch and observe what was happening. I was not invested in anything, but I would get promoted and I would get bonuses. But it wasn't because I was in competition with anyone, because I genuinely loved what I did. I loved what I did. And I always wanted to push myself further because I knew I could. It was a competition between me and me. So as I was watching my daughters do this, and I tried to show them that you don't need to compete with your sister. You don't need to compete with anyone, actually. All you need to do is to compete with the version of yourself that was here yesterday, or the day before, or a year ago. Because maybe we are in a place where we want to compete, but in reality, what is the point of competing with anyone? Look at where the world is today. Like, I see the schooling system as a machine system. Okay, and I'm sorry for everyone who doesn't see it this way. I still completely see the wonders of the schooling system and the beautiful stuff that are being taught. And I also see the program that's being put upon children. Happened in, no matter how developed it is, right? No matter how first world country it is, it's still the same system. There's still an ideology of the perfect student that gets A's, is quiet in class, puts their hand up at the right time, says what they want to say, they sit still, they don't move, right? They get into lineups to walk out of the corridor, they hardly ever need the toilet. Like, there's this idea of the perfect person, human, that most students are trying to live up to. And that is in a constant state of comparison, this illusion of the student, right? This illusion of the perfect human that until today we're all striving to become. But then it turns into this other thing as we keep getting older and older. It turns into our careers, what we're looking for our perfect partner. It starts to put us down. It starts to put agony in our hearts and pain in our hearts because we're never good enough. It builds in us a feeling of never being good enough unless. And it's a constant unless. And it's a constant unless I become like that person or like that person. That person is successful, therefore I need to follow their steps. But I feel like a loser. I feel like a failure because no matter how much I try to become them in comparison to them, right, in competition of them, I feel worse about who I am, right? And so we live in a world where everyone is unhappy with who they are because we've been programmed to believe that who we are is wrong. Who we are, there's a default there that needs to be fixed. So let's say you were the quiet, shy one in class. Never put your hand up, right? Was the observer, right? Was shy. You have every right to be shy. And then you're being told by the teacher and then the school itself and your parents are bought in. Your child never interacts. It's very lonely. How unhealthy. And the parent starts to panic that there's something wrong with you. And you hear that there's something wrong with you for being shy. What happens for the rest of your life? You hate yourself for being shy. You think the only reason you don't have friends, you're not a success, is because you're shy. And you start to observe everyone who's not shy, who's witty, who knows how to say the right thing at the right time as God, as the perfect person that you want to become like. Because supposedly there was a default in you because you were shy. Now let's take, and that was not accepted. Now let's take another version. Let's say you were the hyper kid. You were the social one, the one that likes to talk to your friends at the lockers or in the classroom. You like to write notes and you're itchy on the chair and you don't want to sit and this whole thing is boring, and the more you sit and stare at the teacher, the more you daydream. You're not absorbing anything, but the more you move, you're able to hear. Like, everybody is unique. Everybody learns differently. And again, teacher, you're like ruining the atmosphere of the class. You're not this utopic ideal student. You're a little over the top, and your parents are called in and said, your kid simply is like constantly stimulating the class. They can't sit. They're engaging with everyone, right? They're in the bathroom all day long. They keep leaving and going out and coming back. They're disturbing the class. And then you hear this about yourself, and then you're like, what is wrong with me? There must be something wrong with me. I need to fix whatever it is. And you start to observe the good students and try to see where you've gone wrong, but you can't control yourself, right? Because there's this utopic human that we're all trying to become, not knowing that every single human being is suffering the same thing. So there is no ideal student in any form. Maybe there's the 1 in the class or the 2 in the class because they get those A's, right? They talk at the right time, they're silent at the right time, but they're also not themselves because they don't know who they are. Is this making sense, how we've been conditioned from a very young age? Even in family dynamics, look at your sister, what she can do. Why can't you be as quiet as your brother? Look at how smart she is. Look at how your friend dresses. Why can't you dress like your friend? Or whatever it is, there's always a comparison, but that's only because that's how we used to think as a collective. Everyone wanted this ideal utopic human being, which doesn't exist. But that ideal utopic human being is very, I'm going to say it, military based. Robots. There's no uniqueness. Because the shy person, in reality, is the observer of our world. It's the one that observes everything, scans environments, feels things deeply, gets insights because they're there contemplating a lot. They're the shyer ones. If they didn't feel that there was a problem with their shyness and this is something unique and special about them, they wouldn't be busy in their head saying, you're too shy, put up your hand now, answer back, you gotta do. There would be nothing. There would just be like pleasure in their truth, which is I'm this shy person, and in my shyness I have all these qualities, and I can let you know the gifts within those. Within everything that you assume and presume to be your downfall are your soul gifts. I am telling you, I've done this for 15 years. I know what I'm talking about. And then we look at the person who's all like itchy and antsy and social and everything. How unique. This character, these are the creators of something new. These are the people gatherers, right? These are the leaders, right? These are the ones who need the shy people to come in and give them guidance as to what does the collective want, right? And they speak up. They're the outspoken ones. They're the ones who speak up and share and light and glow, right? And we try to dim them. You're too loud. You're too jumpy. You're too happy. You're too excitable. You're causing too much damage, right? Because this is the system we want. So this all reflects into our future. who we become in the future. I'm going to scroll down to the comments and see. Hi, Sarah. How are you? Oh, how nice to scroll down and see comments. So in general, due to that experience I was having with my girls and going and reflecting back into my life and the things and who I am today, you know, I kept thinking the thing that triggered for me yesterday was my YouTube channel. Like, I've done and tried everything to make it prosperous, and you know, I'm like, oh, I really, and to only recognize yesterday through the pain of that is that for me it means that if I become really successful on YouTube, you know, then I've reached my success, because that's how the YouTubes are. All the people that the channel and do what I do are there, and they've got millions of views, thousands of views, and it makes me feel less because I'm in comparison state, right? Maybe it's a title, maybe it's a this, maybe I should do a cover, and I perfected it. And yet, I came to realize it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I kept hearing over and over again for so long, that's not your path, that's not your path. And I was like, I want it to be my path, right? Because that's the thing today, right? But it was still a comparison. Because this is just the program, right? It's just what we were meant to believe to be true. If you are a perfectionist, you were told there's something wrong with you. What's wrong with you? Everything has to be so perfect, 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 right? And yet in school, if you're not a perfectionist, oh, you're sluggish and lazy and you do nothing. So there is no right or wrong. There's a special, it's like a balance rope. It's a rope that you have to tread on lightly, knowing exactly where to step. How much of an extrovert, how much of an introvert you need to be. How much of a perfectionist, but not too much of a perfectionist, but be a perfectionist. Get things right, you know? Don't you dare procrastinate, but don't you dare overdo things at the very, very beginning, right? Like, there's always a thing where somebody's controlling someone in comparison to this utopic human being that does not exist, right? And neither do we want to be that utopic human being, because then we're all just the same. We're all structured and following a certain system that doesn't exist, a system that it deletes you and your gifts and your uniqueness and what you are here to offer. It just deletes it. Makes us all the same. And when we're all the same, nothing gets created. We're all controlled and doomed. So it's time to actually let go of needing to compare self with others to measure your own worth and value. In comparison always to others, you lose sight of you. Because there's somebody else comparing themselves to you, by the way. There's someone else comparing themselves to you, by the way. And you're comparing yourself to someone else. And someone else is comparing themselves to someone else. And this is how we've been programmed to believe our worth is in comparing ourselves to others. Am I better than this person? Am I better than that person? Right? And that's no fault of ours. It's just the program. And the way to shift that, which I really want to offer you, is whenever you notice that aching feeling of, oh, that person's more successful than me. She found her perfect partner. What did she do to find her perfect partner? And you start to do everything. Oh, I did that. I did that. I did that. I did that. You do everything to find that perfect partner. You change who you are. You find faults in yourself. You try to fix yourself. You look at everybody that has found their perfect partner and try to imitate what they've done, who they've become to attract that perfect partner. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Because the truth is, who you're trying to imitate, they are exactly who they are. That's what attracted their success and their partner. It's they found out who they are and they became that. They just fell into who they are without needing to become anyone else. Is this making sense? Is this making sense? It's suffocating to constantly feel unworthy and looking at others and wondering how they've done it, right? And therefore making yourself feel like such a shitty ass person, like you're broken, like there's something wrong with you. Maybe if I'm quieter, maybe if I'm more outspoken, maybe if I'm this, maybe if I'm that, maybe if I do it that way, maybe. And you try it out and it suffocates you because it's just not you. Because you're unable to actually accept your own personal soul gifts. Soul gifts that you have, which are your uniqueness. So let's say you are going to draw something. It's very different when you're drawing something because you want to and you feel excited about it, and you're not looking at the end result. The end result isn't, is mom going to like it? Is dad going to like it? Are my friends going to like it? Am I going to be, are they going to say I'm an artist? Am I going to get a compliment? Like, that's an end result. So now I'm not fully in what I'm doing. I'm not in my creative state. I'm in my worry future state. What if you drew just because you felt like it right now? You had an expression inside of you. It turns out crap. It turns out pretty. It's irrelevant. What's relevant is the experience right now that I'm experiencing is making me feel amazing. And I want to have more of this amazingness without the projection of the future and who I am and what the outcome and what are people going to say. And according to that, I'm going to either be ashamed of myself or I'm going to reprimand myself or blame myself. It's very different. We're all looking for that inner peace. We all want to feel good inside about who we are. And the easiest and simplest step to do that is to stop comparing self with other selves, other beings. There is no comparison. No matter what you do, you can never be anyone else. You've been designed beautifully and perfectly the way you are. When you tap into that, then you're like, oh, I can relax now. I can relax into me. I can just relax into me. You can relax into you. There's no one to fight. You're fighting yourself. You're fighting your gifts because you think they're bad, because you've been told they're bad about you. But who's been telling you? They haven't been sane, euphoric, happy, joyous people who are telling you that something's wrong with you. They're also depleted and they're also confused about who they are, and they wish to be somebody other than themselves, and they wish to have certain talents and things, right? Just know those who find fault in you have lots of their own faults that they don't even have the solution for. So I'm going to leave you with this. I've done a freebie for you, and it's got 3 simple steps to just give mental clarity, because this is where all the crazy lives, right? This is where it lives, in here, what we tell ourselves, what the program has told us to believe about ourselves. So I have this freebie for you, which I invite you to click on the link. I'll put it in the comments. To click on the link and get it, or in the comment, or whatever. I'm just going to leave it there for you. Click it, have it, use it. It's for free, completely for free. Go through it. They're just 3 simple, easy things you can incorporate in your day that'll just give you that, which we all need, that breathing space, a little bit of a breathing space. Okay, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you whenever I see you, whenever the next live is. Take care. I wish you well. I hope you find your soul gifts and the beauty and the peace within them. If you need help in this, insights, please reach out. You could send me privately, and we can see if we're a good match for a session together or not. I have limited sessions because I do a lot of other things, and my one-on-ones are limited because I do spend an hour and a half with each person per session, if not a little bit more. So there's a lot that goes into it. All right, take care of yourselves, and I will see you in another live.